Since childhood, we've been taught that real love is pain, anxiety, and fear of loss. That the more deeply you love, the more you suffer. That depending on someone is somehow the depth of true feeling. But Carl Jung pointed to a very different truth, one we're often afraid to admit. Attachment is not love. It's a form of fear, disguised as intimacy. When you feel dependent on someone, it's not just about love. It's about an inner emptiness you're trying to fill with another person's presence. As if without them, you stop being yourself. As if without their approval, your self-worth disappears. There's a crack inside you, and you believe only this person can seal it. But that's not love. It's emotional attachment, rooted not in freedom, but in need. Love is when you freely choose to stay. Attachment is when you fear falling apart without the other person. That's why we hold on, even when there's no longer any mutual connection. True love is when you are whole on your own and simply want to share that with someone. Attachment is when you feel incomplete and look for someone to complete you. That's why people often confuse love with dependency, because we were taught that suffering for someone means you love them deeply. But here's the question you need to ask yourself. Do you truly love this person, or are you just afraid to lose them? Attachment wears the mask of love. It sounds like, I can't live without you, or you are my whole life. But that's not love speaking, that's fear. Fear of being alone, fear of facing yourself, fear of discovering that without another, you don't know who you are. If you feel like you're losing yourself when someone leaves, it means you've handed your worth over to them. You've made them the anchor of your inner peace. And now every emotion they feel, every move they make, becomes your storm. That's the core difference. Love is never driven by fear. It doesn't cling. It doesn't demand. It doesn't beg to be held. Love offers and lets go. It's not about possession. It's about presence. Being there not because you're afraid to be alone, but because you truly want to walk together. If you feel incomplete without someone, that's not love. It's a signal. You've lost your connection with yourself. Your inner foundation has cracked, and you're reaching for a crutch in the outside world. But no external love will ever replace the love you must give yourself. That's why learning to let go is so important. Not because the other person is bad, but because you should never lose yourself just to hold on to someone else. When you restore your connection with yourself, you stop needing. You begin to choose, and that is freedom. Carl Jung said, "Where love reigns, there is no will to power." Love is not the cry of "be with me," it's the quiet voice saying, "I'm here if you'd like to walk this path together." Only when you stop fearing loneliness are you truly ready for closeness. Only when you understand that love is not something you take, but something that overflows from fullness, are you capable of truly loving.
You're afraid it's all going to end because you believe that if you lose this person, you'll lose love itself. But in truth, real love isn't fear, anxiety, or the pain of something slipping away. Real love is freedom. And to feel that freedom, you must learn to let go. Letting go isn't loss. It's a return to inner peace. Here's the real question. How do you let go without feeling like you're losing something essential? How do you release someone without falling into emptiness? Letting go of someone doesn't mean you stop loving them. It means returning to yourself, to your life, to your values. We're often taught that real love must last forever, that we must hold on to those we love at any cost. But the truth is this: letting go is not losing. It's freeing yourself from dependency. If you're constantly afraid of losing someone, that's not love. It's attachment. And it's vital to understand. Love should never be rooted in fear. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or devaluing the relationship. It means putting yourself first, choosing peace over dependency. It's realizing that your worth doesn't come from who stands beside you, but from how you stand with yourself. Letting go is not the end of love. It's the recognition that love lives within you. You can still remember, you can still cherish, but you don't have to stay stuck in the past. Letting go doesn't break you. It sets you free. It's like releasing a heavy weight and finally feeling light again. To let go doesn't mean becoming cold or forgetting. It means understanding that love isn't limited. You can love and still not be dependent on the person you love. You don't have to be afraid that without them, you'll be incomplete. True letting go is knowing that your happiness doesn't depend on who stays. It depends on who you are with yourself. When you realize that letting go is liberation, the fear disappears. You're no longer afraid of loss because you know, deep down, that you are whole. You remain whole, even if someone walks away. The more you try to hold on to something that's already broken, the more disappointment you create, because attachment doesn't strengthen a bond, it tightens it until it breaks. If love is real, it doesn't demand effort. If a connection is genuine, it's not built on fear, it's built on choice. If someone truly wants to be in your life, they will be. You won't have to convince them. So when you cling to someone who is no longer emotionally present, you're clinging to an illusion. You're stuck in memories of what the connection once was, or fantasies of what it could have been. But the person you once knew might no longer exist. How much time will you spend holding on to what has already slipped away? How much energy will you give to someone who may have already moved on? Letting go is how you take your power back. When you release, you realize the only person you truly need is yourself. Not because others don't matter, but because self-love is the foundation of any healthy relationship. You can't fully love another when you're running on empty. You can't build a strong bond if you live in constant fear of losing it. Letting go doesn't mean losing. It means clearing space, choosing yourself again, and opening the door to new possibilities. You don't need to chase what's no longer yours. You need to trust that what's meant for you will come without you having to grip it so tightly. So the question is this: will you keep clinging to the past, or will you start rebuilding yourself? When we lose someone who mattered, pain is inevitable. It feels like something inside us breaks, as if part of our identity disappears. And that's where many go wrong. They either stay trapped in their suffering, reliving the past, or they become cold, shutting themselves off from love to avoid pain. But Carl Jung said, "What you resist not only persists, it grows. What you accept transforms you." When you ignore your feelings, they don't go away. They hide and resurface later as fear, distrust, or insecurity. True healing isn't forgetting or suppressing your emotions. It's learning to feel without getting stuck in pain. We live in a culture that tells us to move on quickly, that time heals, that we must be strong and keep going. But that's not healing. That's avoidance. Pain you don't process stays inside you. It turns into resentment, fear of trusting again, or a wall between you and love. You've probably known someone who, after heartbreak, says, "I'll never fall in love again. I just can't trust anyone anymore." That person hasn't healed. They've only shut their heart. But is that really protection, or just a life without the risk and beauty of love? Pain is part of the process. To truly heal, you must allow yourself to feel the sadness, the anger, the nostalgia. There's no shame in those emotions. Let them move through you. Don't block them, because the pain you resist becomes a heavy burden. The pain you allow yourself to feel, it dissolves. Don't be afraid to feel. Letting go doesn't mean you can't grieve. It means you grieve without clinging to the sorrow. It's not about closing your heart. It's about learning to live with pain and then slowly releasing it so that your heart can open again to something new.
After the pain of love or heartbreak, many people start building walls around themselves. We think that if we shut others out, we can avoid fear and pain. But in truth, that protection doesn't make us stronger. It only makes us more alone. You can't truly block out emotions, no matter how much you want to. Real strength is in the ability to stay open, even after everything you've been through. Think of the ancient wisdom of Seneca, Epictetus, and the great teachers of the past. They didn't see emotional pain as the enemy, but as a lesson, something that enters our lives to make us wiser. We can learn from the past, but we must not become prisoners of it. If someone once hurt you, that doesn't mean joy or love can't find you again. Every person is a new meeting, a new experience, a new chance. And every time you open your heart, you grow. If you're hurting, if someone betrayed or disappointed you, that's okay. Feelings aren't weakness. But it's important to remember, you have the power to let go of the pain. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means recognizing that the past is behind you and the future is still wide open. As Seneca said, it's not what happened to us, but how we respond to it that shapes our destiny. Pain can become power if we allow ourselves to feel it, but not be ruled by it. True strength isn't hiding your feelings or closing your heart. It's learning to feel and to stay open to the world, despite the pain. We fear that love will only bring more suffering. But when we release old wounds, love can once again become a source of joy and light. As Carl Jung said, pain is not the enemy, it is the teacher. Pain teaches us to be more sensitive, more self-aware, more compassionate. It reminds us we're alive and that the soul is capable of great depth. But if we stop growing and let pain define us, we lose the chance to learn and evolve. Don't get stuck in pain. Learn from it. Pain doesn't have to be your identity. It can be a chapter in your growth if you give yourself time to heal and forgive. So how do you begin? Learn to let go, not by forgetting, but by understanding that every experience has given you something, and you are stronger now because of it. Remember how even the greatest figures in history went through crises, and those moments became turning points. Julius Caesar faced betrayal, but did not give up on his vision. Socrates, even in death, remained true to his principles. If they could move through darkness and still move forward, so can you. Let go of the fear of loss. True freedom is not about avoiding relationships, but about being able to love without expecting others to fill a void within you. You already have everything you need for joy inside of you. Once you realize that, you won't seek love with desperation or attachment. You'll be free to give love, not just grasp for it. Every experience is a chance to grow. You haven't lost anything by letting go. You've simply made space for something more aligned with who you are becoming. This isn't the end. It's the next beginning. Be open, be ready, and always remember, the strongest person is not the one who avoids love, but the one who can love again despite the past. No matter how hard it's been, it doesn't mean love isn't real. In fact, your pain proves just how deeply you're capable of feeling, and that means love is still there, waiting, if you're willing to let it in. With every step forward, you become wiser. With every passing day, your heart grows stronger and your soul shines brighter. Don't be afraid to open up. Don't be afraid to love again.